Starting at number 15, the 1957 to 1959 Pontiac Chieftain. Pontiac launched this redesigned model with bold promises, a 347 cubic inch V8 delivering up to 290 horsepower, modern styling with dramatic lines, and Pontiac's new Strato Streak engine technology. On paper, this was Pontiac's ticket to competing with Chevrolet's dominance. In reality, it became a warranty nightmare that buried dealerships in complaints. The Chieftain suffered from GM's industry-wide problem in 1957, rushed production schedules that sacrificed quality for style. Body panels arrived misaligned from the factory, chrome trim peeled off within months, and rust appeared faster than on any Pontiac before it. The Strato Streak V8 developed persistent valve train noise and oil leaks that mechanics struggled to fix. Hydromatic transmission slipped and failed prematurely. Water poured through windshields and door seals during the first rainstorm. What destroyed buyer confidence wasn't just the problems, it was how widespread they were. Nearly every Chieftain owner experienced multiple failures, and resale values collapsed as word spread through communities. Number 14. The 1959 to 1960 Chevrolet El Camino. Chevrolet attempted something bold, combining passenger car comfort with pickup truck utility. They built it on the full-size Impala platform, with engines ranging from a 235 cubic inch six-cylinder to a 348 cubic inch V8, producing 315 horsepower. The concept seemed innovative until buyers actually tried using these vehicles. The El Camino failed because it satisfied nobody's actual needs. The 77-inch cargo bed was too short for construction materials or farming equipment, making it worthless for anyone needing real truck capability. The handling was truck-like and clumsy, disappointing buyers who wanted car-like ride quality. At over 210 inches long, it was too massive for city parking, yet offered less utility than a proper pickup. Chevrolet projected strong sales, but managed only 22,246 units over 2 model years, a catastrophic failure. The market rejected this identity crisis on wheels, and Chevrolet discontinued it in 1960. When it returned in 1964 on the smaller Chevelle platform, it finally made sense. The original El Camino proved that innovation without purpose creates expensive mistakes. At number 13, the Renault Dauphine. French automaker Renault saw opportunity in America's growing interest in economical imports. They brought the Dauphine with its tiny 845cc four-cylinder engine, producing just 27 horsepower, marketing it as practical city transportation. Americans initially responded. Sales reached 100,000 units annually by 1959, making it one of the most popular imports. Then, owners discovered what they'd actually purchased. The Dauphine's performance was genuinely dangerous on American roads. 0 to 60 miles per hour required over 30 seconds, leaving drivers vulnerable when merging onto highways. The 4-speed manual transmission was notoriously difficult to shift smoothly, but performance was luxury compared to the reliability disasters. These cars developed rust holes within the first year, even in dry southwestern climates. The cooling system couldn't handle American traffic conditions, causing frequent overheating. Electrical systems failed constantly, stranding owners. By 1961, Consumer Reports declared it one of the worst cars sold in America, warning buyers to avoid it completely. Renault's American reputation was destroyed, and the Dauphine became a punchline that haunted French imports for decades.
Number 12, the 1958 to 1964 Thunderbird. Yes, the legendary T-Bird makes this list, and enthusiasts still haven't forgiven Ford. The original 1955 to 1957 Thunderbird was a nimble two-seat sports car that competed directly with Corvette, earning devoted fans who loved its performance character. Then, Ford made a calculated business decision that killed everything the Thunderbird represented. For 1958, Ford transformed the T-Bird into a four-seat personal luxury car that gained 800 pounds and a 19-inch longer wheelbase. The 352 cubic inch V8 produced 300 horsepower but struggled hauling 3,900 pounds of mass. The complex retractable hardtop mechanism jammed frequently, requiring expensive dealer repairs. Electrical accessories failed regularly in an era when electronic complexity was new. Ford's sales department celebrated. The four-seater sold better than the two-seater ever did, but enthusiasts felt betrayed. Ford had taken their sports car and turned it into a boulevard cruiser for middle-aged buyers. The performance reputation died overnight. When Chevrolet kept Corvette pure, Ford's decision looked even worse in hindsight. At number 11, the 1957 to 1959 Nash Ambassador. After Nash merged with Hudson to form American Motors Corporation, the Ambassador represented their attempt to compete with Detroit's Big Three. AMC installed a 327 cubic inch V8 producing 270 horsepower and gave it styling they called distinctive aerodynamic design. Buyers saw something different: awkward proportions with bulbous curves that looked dated before the car even reached showrooms. Beyond questionable styling, these Ambassadors suffered from fundamental engineering compromises. The body structure flexed excessively over rough roads, creating squeaks and rattles that made the car feel cheap. Assembly quality was inconsistent. Panel gaps varied wildly between individual cars. The suspension tuning couldn't decide between comfort and handling, achieving neither successfully. Electrical systems were unreliable, even by 1950 standards. Ford's buyers had been loyal for decades, but these Ambassadors tested that loyalty too far. By 1958, AMC dropped the Nash name entirely, rebranding everything as Rambler. The Ambassador nameplate survived, but never recovered its credibility. These cars proved that merging two struggling companies doesn't guarantee success. Number 10, the 1957 to 1959 Plymouth Fury. Plymouth had built decades of reputation on reliability and value, making them America's third best-selling brand. The 1957 Fury featured Chrysler's dramatic forward-look styling, with aggressive lines and a 318 cubic inch V8 making up to 290 horsepower. It looked spectacular and performed well during test drives. Then owners took delivery and watched their new cars literally disintegrate. These Furies suffered from Chrysler's corporate-wide quality catastrophe in 1957. Body panels began rusting within months because proper rust-proofing was skipped in the rush to production. Paint bubbled and peeled after one summer. The unibody construction developed leaks that dealerships couldn't fix. Water poured through window seals and door frames. Electrical gremlins appeared constantly. The TorqueFlite automatic transmission, normally bulletproof, had issues in these early applications. What made this worse than other quality failures was Plymouth's reputation. Buyers trusted Plymouth for dependable transportation, and these cars betrayed that trust completely. Plymouth's market share began declining in 1958 and never recovered. The Fury destroyed decades of goodwill in just one model generation.
At number 9, the 1957 to 1959 Dodge Custom Royal. Dodge received the same forward-look redesign as Plymouth and Chrysler, featuring dramatic tail fins and a 325 cubic inch V8 producing up to 310 horsepower. These Dodges looked fantastic photographed next to modern buildings, suggesting jet-age design philosophy. Unfortunately, they shared every quality disaster plaguing Chrysler's entire lineup. Body rust didn't just appear quickly, it appeared shockingly fast. Owners reported rust holes forming within 6 months in moderate climates. Electrical systems failed so regularly that Dodge dealers kept entire walls of replacement components in stock.
The torque flight transmission, which would later become legendary for reliability, suffered problems in these rushed early implementations. Paint quality was so poor that cars aged years within a single season. Worse still, these problems became visible to everyone. When your neighbor's new Dodge developed rust and leaks within months, word spread through communities instantly. Resale values collapsed because nobody wanted to buy these problems secondhand. Dodge dealers were overwhelmed with warranty claims they couldn't fix properly. The Custom Royal represented Dodge's lowest point in quality control. At number 8, the 1957 to 1959 Chrysler Windsor. Chrysler's forward-look design philosophy under Virgil Exner created some of the most visually striking cars of the decade. The Windsor featured a 354 cubic inch V8 making 285 horsepower, dramatic styling with soaring fins, and a modern low-slung profile. These cars looked like they belonged in the future. Unfortunately, they were built with present-day disasters. Chrysler rushed these designs into production without proper testing or quality control, creating catastrophic results. Body panels arrived from suppliers without adequate rust protection, and oxidation began within the first year of ownership. The revolutionary torsion bar front suspension, while technically advanced, was implemented too quickly and developed problems almost immediately. Electrical systems were nightmares. Switches failed, motors burned out, and wiring harnesses corroded. Water leaked through poorly sealed windows and doors. Paint didn't adhere properly and flaked off in sheets. Consumer Reports took the unprecedented step of avoiding buyers to avoid all 1957 Chrysler products entirely. This wasn't typical mechanical problems. This was complete engineering failure. That damaged Chrysler's luxury reputation for the next 2 decades. At number 7, the 1958 to 1960 Ford Edsel Ranger. Ford spent over $250 million developing the Edsel brand, equivalent to more than $2 billion today, expecting to capture the mid-price market between Ford and Mercury. They launched with massive advertising campaigns promising revolutionary features. Instead, they delivered one of history's most spectacular business failures. The Edsel Ranger featured a 361 cubic inch V8 producing 303 horsepower, and Ford's innovative Teletouch push-button transmission mounted in the steering wheel hub. But that controversial vertical grille design immediately repelled buyers who compared it to horse collars and worse. The Teletouch transmission was unreliable and confusing, frequently malfunctioning and leaving drivers unable to shift gears. Quality control was abysmal. Oil leaks were common, paint peeled quickly, and electrical systems failed regularly. Worse timing couldn't exist. Edsel launched just as America entered a recession, and buyers weren't interested in expensive mid-price cars. Ford projected 200,000 sales in year 1, but sold only 63,000. By 1960, the Edsel was discontinued after losing Ford hundreds of millions of dollars. The name became synonymous with failure, studied in business schools as a cautionary tale about hype without substance.
Number 6, the Mercury Turnpike Cruiser. Mercury designed this flagship sedan specifically for America's new interstate highway system, promising technology and luxury for long-distance travel. It featured a 368 cubic inch V8 making 290 horsepower, a retractable rear window, memory power seats, and dashboard controls that looked like they belonged in aircraft. Mercury called it the future of highway cruising. Buyers called it a maintenance nightmare. That innovative retractable rear window, the Turnpike Cruiser's signature feature, jammed constantly, requiring expensive repairs that even dealerships struggled to complete properly. The elaborate push-button transmission controls malfunctioned regularly, sometimes leaving drivers stranded in parking lots. The air suspension system, borrowed from other problematic designs, leaked and failed, causing cars to sag unevenly on one corner. Build quality was poor even by 1950 standards, where quality wasn't priority number 1. Electrical gremlins plagued every system. Water leaked through seals. Rattles developed within weeks. At nearly $4,000, expensive for 1957, buyers expected perfection but received constant problems. Sales collapsed after the first year, and Mercury quietly discontinued the Turnpike Cruiser name,
having destroyed their flagship reputation.
At number 5, the 1959 to 1960 DeSoto Fire Sweep. DeSoto occupied Chrysler Corporation's awkward middle position between Dodge and Chrysler brands, and by 1959, this identity crisis was terminal. The Fire Sweep was their entry-level model featuring a 361 cubic inch V8 producing 295 horsepower, positioned to compete in a market segment that no longer wanted DeSoto. The brand couldn't decide if it was a premium Dodge or an affordable Chrysler, and buyers rejected this confusion. DeSoto dealers faced impossible situations. The Fire Sweep was essentially a rebadged Dodge with additional chrome and a higher price tag. Customers quickly realized they could get virtually the same car as a Dodge for significantly less money, or spend slightly more for genuine Chrysler prestige. The 1959 styling with exaggerated eyebrow fins looked cartoonish rather than sophisticated. Build quality continued Chrysler's ongoing nightmare, with rust appearing within months and electrical systems failing constantly. Sales collapsed from 117,000 units in 1957 to barely 26,000 by 1960. Chrysler discontinued DeSoto entirely after 1961, ending a brand that had existed since 1928. The Fire Sweep represented the beginning of that end. A car without identity, purpose, or reason to exist in the marketplace.
Number 4, the 1958 to 1959 Oldsmobile Dynamic 88. General Motors panicked watching Chrysler's forward-look design steal attention, so they rushed to make their 1958 models bigger, lower, and covered in chrome. Oldsmobile's Dynamic 88 got a 371 cubic inch rocket V8 producing 305 horsepower, a 122.5 inch wheelbase, and styling that's remembered today for all the wrong reasons. The 1958 to 1959 Oldsmobiles are widely considered among the ugliest cars GM ever produced. Excessive chrome trim, fake air scoops, quad headlights awkwardly integrated into confused front ends, everything looked thrown together without coherent design direction. The cars were heavy, inefficient, and handled poorly.
Taking bronze at number 3, the 1958 to 1960 Lincoln Continental. Lincoln stretched their flagship to absolutely massive proportions, creating what many consider the most excessive and ungainly sedan of the entire decade. These Continentals measured 229 inches long and 80 inches wide, dimensions that made them nearly impossible to maneuver in normal situations. The Continental featured a 430 cubic inch V8, producing 375 horsepower, but that power struggled moving over 5,000 pounds of car. The 131-inch wheelbase made parking impossible in most urban areas. These cars barely fit in standard garages. Fuel economy averaged around 8 miles per gallon, making them expensive to operate even when gas was cheap. Build quality was surprisingly poor for a luxury brand. Electrical systems failed constantly. Water leaked through poorly sealed doors and windows, and the complex power accessories broke regularly. The styling with canted quad headlights and excessive chrome looked gaudy rather than elegant. Sales collapsed compared to previous Continentals. Our runner-up at number 2, the 1958 Plymouth Plaza. Plymouth's entire 1958 lineup was disastrous, but the entry-level Plaza was particularly catastrophic because it betrayed Plymouth's core mission. For decades, Plymouth meant affordable, reliable transportation for working families. The 1958 Plaza abandoned everything that made Plymouth successful. Plymouth's 1958 redesign made cars dramatically larger and significantly more expensive than 1957 models. The Plaza came standard with a 230 cubic inch inline-six, producing only 132 horsepower, barely adequate for the car's increased weight. Optional was a 318 cubic inch V8 with 225 horsepower.
Plymouth stripped features from the Plaza to hit target prices, making it feel cheap despite costing more than previous years. The styling was awkward with odd proportions and busy details. Build quality was terrible, matching Chrysler's corporate-wide quality disaster with rust, leaks, and electrical failures. And the absolute worst car of the 1950s, the 1957 to 1958 Packard Clipper. This is genuinely heartbreaking because Packard was once America's premier luxury automobile manufacturer, rivaling Cadillac for prestige and exceeding everyone in build quality. Then came the Studebaker merger in 1954, and Packard's decline was swift and brutal. The 1957 to 1958 Packard Clipper wasn't actually a Packard. It was a rebadged Studebaker President with Packard badges and trim. It used Studebaker's 289 cubic inch V8, producing 275 horsepower on a 120.5 inch wheelbase. Everything about these cars betrayed what Packard represented. True Packards were hand-built masterpieces with luxury materials and exceptional refinement. These were mass-produced Studebakers with Packard nameplates stuck on them. The build quality was mediocre at best. The styling was confused and unattractive, neither properly Studebaker nor genuinely Packard. They lacked the silence, smoothness, and quality that made Packard legendary.